Have you ever walked into a room and felt like every single pair of eyes was on you?
Maybe you were at a party or a cafe or that first day at a new job, that sudden hyper-awareness of your own presence. Like that tiny stain on your shirt was a blazing spotlight for the whole world. That moment when you became impossibly aware of how you look, how you stand, how you breathe.
That feeling has a name. Psychologists call it the spotlight effect.
The spotlight effect, first identified by Thomas Gilovich at Cornell University in 1999. The experiment was brilliantly simple, deceptively simple. He asked students to wear a deliberately embarrassing t-shirt into a room full of strangers. A Barry Manilow t-shirt. Objectively embarrassing, subjectively devastating. The students predicted that at least half the room would notice the shirt. They predicted 50%. The actual number? Only 23%. Less than 1 in 4. The spotlight was an illusion the entire time. This gap between what we feel and what is real has a name, the spotlight gap. And it affects all of us constantly, without exception, whether we admit it or not. We are trapped inside our own perspective, and we assume everyone else shares our view. Every person you pass on the street is carrying the same invisible spotlight about themselves. We know what we are feeling, thinking, and worrying about, and we assume everyone else does too. But they do not. They are too busy inside their own head with their own spotlight. This is what psychologists call the egocentric bias, the mind's default setting. Egocentric bias, the tendency to believe that others see what we see, feel what we feel, and notice what we notice about ourselves. But the spotlight effect is not limited to embarrassing moments. It touches everything. It shapes how we speak up in meetings, how we dress, how we share ideas, how we love. Every time we hold back, we are responding to a spotlight that does not exist. It creeps into every corner of our social lives, often without us realizing. Real-life effects, playing it safe in meetings, apologizing for things no one noticed, avoiding new places, replaying mistakes that everyone has already forgotten. Savitsky and Gilovich replicated the study with different conditions. The results were the same. Even when participants knew about the spotlight effect, they still fell for it. Knowing the bias does not free us from the bias. That is how deep it runs. The gap between perceived attention and actual attention is consistent and stubborn. There is a beautiful asymmetry at play here, a kind of psychological irony. Every face you see is carrying its own invisible spotlight about something. While you are worried they are judging you, they are worried you are judging them. The irony is almost beautiful. Everyone performing for an audience that is performing right back. As the saying goes, at every social gathering, everyone is as self-absorbed as you are. Neuroscience explains why this happens. It is built into the architecture of our brain. The default mode network, a set of brain regions that activate when we think about ourselves and how others perceive us. It runs a constant narrative about who we are, what we did, and who might be watching. It is one of the most evolutionarily ancient systems in our brain, always on, always scanning. A story about me playing in the background 24/7. But awareness of the mechanism is the first step to transcending it. To loosen the spotlight, we need to shift from self-focused attention to outward-focused attention. When we shift attention outward, something shifts inward. The noise quiets down. From self-focus to outward focus, a simple shift with profound effects on how we experience the world.
This is not just a social trick, a doc. It is a cognitive rewiring.
The moment you notice the world beyond your own thoughts, the spotlight begins to dim. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. The brain rewires. And the world becomes larger, softer, less about you, and more about everything. Now, let us talk about how to apply this starting today. 3 strategies. 3 practical strategies to dismantle the spotlight. Simple, but not easy. First, the 23% rule. Whatever you think people noticed, cut it in half, then half again. Statistically, most people did not register it. The number you have in your head is wrong. Trust the data, not the feeling. Whatever embarrassing thing you did, statistically, most people did not register it. You got away with it. Because the truth is, most people are too busy wondering if you noticed them. Second, the observer shift. Become the observer rather than the observed. Ask yourself honestly, what did you notice about the last person you spoke to? Almost nothing judgmental. They noticed the same about you. When you realize how little you scrutinize others, you realize how little they scrutinize you. It is mirror logic. We are all mirrors reflecting the same insecurity back at each other. Third, the exposure cure. The only way out is through. Enter slightly uncomfortable situations on purpose. Speak up. Wear the bold outfit. Your brain learns that nothing catastrophic happens. That is how the spotlight dies. Wear that slightly bold outfit. Speak up in the meeting. Walk into the room like you already belong. And eventually, the spotlight becomes a choice rather than a sentence. So let us recap what we have learned. First, the spotlight effect is your brain's default mode, but it is not reality. Second, most people notice far less than you imagine. Third, the way out is through attention, shifting it outward. Gilovich's study showed us something deeply liberating. We are not the center of anyone's attention. This is what freedom from the spotlight looks like. Open, expansive, quiet. Everyone is too busy worrying about their own spotlight to worry about yours. That is the liberating truth. The spotlight effect. Gilovich, Medvec, and Savitsky. Cornell University, 1999.
Thank you for watching. Stay curious.